Mark Stone summarized the VGK loss to Winnipeg last night by saying that the Golden Knights were out of sync. VGK was blanked by a backup goaltender, Eric Comrie, 4-0 for the second loss in a row. Bruce Cassidy said that losses to the Oilers and Jets are concerning. A lot to talk about on this weekender edition of Locked On Golden Knights.
You're Locked On Golden Knights, your daily podcast on the Vegas Golden Knights, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hi again, everyone. Tony Cardasco, longtime sportscaster, consultant on the marketing and event side, and host of Believe in Vegas. And that is my new sports podcast. He is Chris Golick, the collectibles editor for the Hockey News and owner of Silver State Cards and Sports. Coming up on today's show, we'll have a preview of the Flames and Canucks games coming up this weekend as VGK plays a difficult back-to-back on the road, and WTF, what the Friday. We are brought to you today by FanDuel. Go to FanDuel.com. It is the Final Four weekend, and check it out at FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. The Golden Knights dropped 2 straight games, and suddenly the Kings creeping back into contention of the Pacific race and now trail the VGK by just 3 points with 7 games to go. Such drama. Bruce Cassidy, Chris, was pretty hot after last night's shutout loss. He went into the VGK locker room, which he seldom does, and he had a few choice words, I'm sure, for the team. Turnovers again, doing in VGK. And we told you yesterday that VGK had beaten the Jets over the past 2+ years with net front presence. There was none, absolutely none. And an illustration of that was on a tip-in attempt by Zach Whitecloud, but he's on a high post. And so, of course, Eric Comrie, this journeyman goaltender, had the ability to pick it up. And again, they did not have that net front presence. And we saw the way that VGK in the loss was unable to put anyone in front of the net. That was part of the problem, but there were a multitude of problems and issues in last night's game.
The Golden Knights' MO is their transition game. When they get a clean breakout and get momentum through the neutral zone, they create odd man rushes. It's not even an odd man rush at times. It's just simply all 5 players in harmony coming up the ice. And sometimes it could be a defenseman coming in late that gets scoring opportunity or just a great pass across the slot. Whatever that is, it's not happening against the Jets. They take that away. Coach Cassidy referenced the loss that the Jets suffered against the Kings earlier in the week and mentioned that the Kings committed to the chip and chase game, get pucks deep and create turnovers. Well, if the Golden Knights transition game isn't working, then all you have left is get pucks deep and get your cycle going. And unfortunately, the Golden Knights couldn't solve that. And this is an issue the Golden Knights have historically had with teams like the Kings, who used to play that boring, stack 4 or 5 players in the blue line and basically say, come right through us. And it's nearly impossible to do. So you got to play dump and chase. And the Golden Knights have adapted well to that in the past. But against a big, heavy defensive team, they couldn't do it. And Comrie wasn't really tested for about the first, 35 minutes of the game. And then when the Golden Knights were chasing the game, of course, more opportunities came. But that's kind of how that's going to go anyway at that point. So credit Comrie for making some big saves. Aiden wasn't his best, and Schmid came in and did what he did. And, so Cassidy, his voice, his reactions to the questions, he's concerned right now. If he's concerned, the fans should be concerned.
Right, for sure. And, when things go awry for this VGK team, people start to question me. Are you having fun? Do you like what you do? Why are you still doing this show? All these questions. And yeah, I absolutely love doing this show and getting up early in the morning and screaming and shouting. And a lot of the stuff that we say on this program is right. And we head in the right path, in the right direction. And a lot of fans don't want to hear the truth. So it's WTF. That's for later. But why do fans get mad, especially at me and at us, when we make a point and it turns out to be true? Fact, Aiden Hill, gassed, 5th consecutive start. Cassidy knows it. Fans can't see it. I don't understand that. And so Cassidy pulling Aiden Hill to give him some rest to start the third period. And we see Akira Schmid coming into the game and playing that third period. So now, what happens with this goalie rotation? Will it be Hill on Saturday and Schmid on Sunday, or is Samsonov? Nobody even understands. How would you play the goaltenders? Because right now, Aiden Hill is wearing down. End of story.
So while we're doing a victory lap here,
I'm not trying to do a victory lap, right? It's just a matter of, hey, why don't you just quit doing the show because you're so negative? What's negative about us saying something about a goaltender being gassed and his workload is too heavy right now?
two things we hit either this week or last week. One, strength of remaining schedule. Golden Knights, it was maybe 3-4 weeks ago, the Golden Knights had the 8th softest, 8th easiest.
The second after the New Year's, number 2 after the New Year.
Number two after the New Year. Okay, so going back even farther, there you go. The workload management we talked about, and what was the other thing I texted you about last night? I'm drawing a blank.
Last night you said we were talking about this team perhaps peaking too soon.
Peaking too soon. Thank you.
And everyone's like, when do you expect them?
About.
Somebody they came after me and said, when do you expect them to peak? Well, not when they were peaking. No, it's towards the end of the season. Right now, the final 7 games, the final 5 games, they're going to have to peak when they're heading into the playoffs. And in the playoffs, you need to peak. Not in March, not in February. Sorry, man. End of story there.
A team doesn't choose when they peak. It just kind of happens. So maybe remove the word too soon from that and just say, did the Golden Knights peak or plateau? And then now they're on the downward descent. Maybe that's a better way to say it. And
I don't believe that they're on a downward descent per se, because they played 2 bad games and now get back on track.
Well, they played 2 good. They played 2 good teams that are likely to be playoff opponents possibly, and you can add the LA Kings into that mix recently. And Coach Cassidy mentioned concern about the path through the West that the Golden Knights are going to have, and they've suffered losses to those 3 of those teams. And we're not even talking about teams like Colorado and Dallas, who are going to be in the mix as well down the stretch. So there's concern right now, and it's fair. And a couple wins this weekend could help. Now, the original question here was what happens with the goalies. And I think with Schmid coming in a little bit of a mop-up role last night, I think you roll right back with Schmid on Saturday. Give Aiden that extra day off right now because he needs it. He's tired. And the goals you watched last night, I don't think there's much Aiden's going to do on them. We can recap those singularly in a little bit. But from a totality perspective, Aiden was fine yesterday. I don't know if necessarily Cassidy was waving the white flag in the game by putting Schmid in, but it made sense maybe for a greater good type of thing. So coming up this weekend, Saturday is going to be a game against the Flames. Sunday is a game against the Vancouver Canucks. Golden Knights get 1 day off to travel. I'm sorry, they got Colorado as well on the 8th in Colorado. That's going to be fun. They come home for a pair on Thursday the 10th, Saturday the 12th, and then they get 2 days off, finish with 2 games in a row back in Calgary and Vancouver again. As odd as that sounds, that's what's going to be happening. So give Aiden the extra day, and the Golden Knights got to find a path to 4 points right now. It needs to be a 4-point weekend, and it's going to be a very tall order against 2 teams who are still – there's a little distance now, but 2 teams that are still going to be in the playoff hunt. They're going to empty the chamber. They're going to give the Golden Knights everything they have right now, and the Golden Knights are struggling. Cassidy's concerned, so there we go.
Okay, and then a lot of fans are upset that we see now where the LA Kings have a ton of home games here down the stretch. Well, folks, they started off this season by playing 7, 8 consecutive games on the road to start the year. So now the schedule's balancing out, and the Oilers go to Los Angeles on Saturday at 1:00.
That's actually good.
They play the Kraken
unless they go to overtime.
Well, Draisaitl got injured last night, so now more issues for the Oil. And then the Kraken are at the Kings and the Kings Ducks. And I'm just curious if these opponents for the Kings start to lay down to get back at the Golden Knights. It's been a breeze. It's been a breeze for the VGK, and I'll see I'm wondering how these teams will be playing out the schedule, especially if they don't have to win down the stretch. And then last night, Alex Pietrangelo returns, and he returns to turning over the stinking puck again. What's going on with Pietrangelo?
I mean, at least he hasn't missed a step. I would have been concerned if he would have come back and played a lot
Do you
better.
have that? Do you have that? Do you have
To be
that?
fair,
stat card?
Pietrangelo was number 4 as far as on the good side of the stat card, but
Who was number 1? I'm just so curious.
Hanifin was number 1. But
Okay.
to be fair, we're talking about a grading curve where a C+ is the top of the class right now. So don't put a lot into the overall grades here. A couple notes on the defense. One, it did start Hanifin, Pietrangelo. It did not end Hanifin, Pietrangelo. It ended Hanifin, Haig, and then Pietrangelo, Whitecloud. Yes, Pietrangelo, Whitecloud. Of course, Braden McNabb and Shea Theodore stay together. Uncharacteristically bad game yesterday for Braden McNabb. First goal, he's caught flat-footed at the blue line. That leads to a 2-on-1 for the Scheifele goal. And then the second goal, the Lowry goal, Braden McNabb is right there in the slot and unfortunately can't do anything.
Didn't do anything,
The third goal, Zach Whitecloud, he takes a puck. He's obviously in a ton of pain. And as a result, he's kind of screening Aiden Hill. And credit to the TV broadcast intermission with Darren Elliott. And I forgot who was the other person that was there.
Jamie was there.
Jamie. Listening to those two talk is an absolute joy about how they dissect what happens. And then Millard comes in there and is the homer and just
they were so honest. They were terrific.
They're great
last night.
They're great. If we
Jimmy
can find
Hirsch
a way
needs to be in the broadcast every single night. And that Megan woman, remember, she was super negative. We haven't seen her again.
They should both be doing the color commentary along
terrific.
Gauche. And I always forget the radio name. I always forget
Wallace?
the radio. Huh?
Go ahead. Who?
I always forget the radio play-by-play name. It's so disrespectful. I always forget his name. He's amazing, but
Dan
if they could do color on the radio and TV, Wallace and Millard can do something else with the team or have some future endeavors. I think it would make both broadcasts a lot better to be completely transparent.
You didn't hear me say Dan Duva? No.
Dan Duva. Thank you, Duva. I'm sorry.
I help you out.
I never remember his name. But moving on, uncharacteristically bad game from everybody, from the defense, forwards not getting enough opportunities. The high danger chances were 8-5 in favor of Winnipeg. And
that's a change, right? And we knew what VGK has done in the past.
And giving them 8 high dangers is actually a good game defensively. Let's be fair about that. So defensively, it actually wasn't
Tomas Hertl. They missed Hertl last night. Bad.
They missed everybody. Honestly, Tomas Hertl, it would have been a poop show either way. That game, it was just
wow.
Cassidy, I know we're just running on here, but Cassidy also talked about the decision not to practice on Wednesday and it catching up to him. And as a result, with the decision made not to practice on Wednesday, Cassidy said, now I got to look in the mirror and live with that decision and move on. So you appreciate the honest assessment. Mark Stone, very honest afterwards. I didn't watch William Karlsson's. I'm sure you didn't either. But, it's okay, I guess, maybe if we're going to maybe put a little positivity here. It's okay for a little bit of trouble, a little bit of adversity down the stretch here, because it's only going to get harder from this point forward. And maybe it's better it happened in game 76 or 75, whatever it was last night, versus games 81 and 82 next week in Vancouver and Calgary as they get ready to open the playoffs, likely on Saturday the 20th. So,
and then they're going to have to play Calgary and the Canucks again to finish out this season. So they might try to get the upper hand. Calgary, will talk about the two matchups coming up ahead. But another just interesting point that I want to make is that they pulled the goaltender Schmid early last night with
5 minutes left. That was great.
With over 5 minutes remaining.
What do you got to lose?
What was the game that Cassidy did not pull the goalie? And I was questioning. That was on the road.
I don't know.
Yeah, it was one of those later road games. But yeah, a little bit of concern. And
I would have liked just a moral victory to find a way to get one, see them getting one in the back of the net yesterday. I would have liked to see at least one just to remind the team they can do it, remind them they can do it.
And Mark Stone on the IKEA line. How about that?
Yeah, no, you saw a lot of movement happening. That was something that was talked about out of camp, and then injuries.
You liked it. You liked that line. You thought that when Karlsson came back, that perhaps you would see him and Stone on the same line. Anyway,
on paper, it's something that might work. And Cassidy mentioned he's trying to dial the lines and everything. Another thing we've been driving home for about 3 weeks now. So we'll see how it shakes out. I mean, Karlsson, I don't think he has a goal since he returned. I could be wrong.
No, he hasn't had a goal since probably December.
So, you need Carlson to be a driving force out there. I thought the IKEA line's been buzzing the last couple of games. Obviously, not
Yeah,
last
they missed some really close in opportunities last night, just fumbling the puck. They're out of sync. Maybe Stone was talking about that line because they can't seem to connect right now. Not being negative, being honest. Coming up next,
reality.
yeah, we'll take a
Now it's
look at
reality.
the upcoming back-to-back, the Flames and the Canucks. Difficult stretch here coming up ahead for VGK. We'll return with more right after this on Lockdown Golden Knights. Daylight savings time snuck up on us again. If you are feeling that you lost that hour of sleep, still trying to catch up, we all are. 5-Hour Energy has your back. The extra sunshine that you get on this show, the extra sunshine means more time for fun, but sometimes you need that little boost to power you through. Whether you are staying up and watching a lot of TV and a lot of basketball, whether you are, I've been checking out a lot of Hoops Live, of course, there in the Crown Tournament. Maybe you're squeezing in a late round of golf after work, or you're just trying to keep up with your busy day, like myself and Chris. 5-Hour Energy gives you that quick, refreshing pick-me-up whenever you need it. And again, there's a lot of extra activities this time of year with that extra sunshine, extra daylight. With longer days, I just like to get outside and I like to take a nice walk. And Tropical Burst is my go-to for a very quick boost. Whether I'm at a game or traveling, 5-Hour Energy is easy to grab and it keeps me feeling refreshed. And they had 5-Hour Energy in the press room. Definitely appreciate that the last couple of days here at the MGM. Head to 5hourenergy.com and you will find over 15 flavors to choose from. And that includes watermelon, blue raspberry, and peach mango. You can even build your own 12-pack or 24-pack delivered right to your door. If you need one right now, grab a 5-Hour Energy shot at your local grocery or convenience store. They are everywhere. Stock up today. Stay energized. Again, keep up with all the madness this time of year with 5-Hour Energy. Visit 5hourenergy.com to stock up and save. Back on this edition of Lockdown Golden Knights, Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick reporting from Las Vegas. We appreciate you making us your first listen each and every day. Please make sure that you subscribe to our Lockdown Golden Knights YouTube channel. So the back-to-back for VGK at Cal, 1,001, 1,002. Calgary, and then at Vancouver on Sunday, Sunday affairs. Calgary now just 5 points behind a fading Minnesota Wild team. The Flames defeating the Ducks last night 4-1. They are in this race, folks. They're definitely in the race because Minnesota just is absolutely falling apart at the seams. And by the end of this weekend, that could be down to 3 points. The difference, maybe fewer, between those two teams. So that's going to be interesting. And you have to point to the success of late of Nazem Kadri. He had in back-to-back games, he had a winning goal in overtime. And I think he scored another goal last night. So they're doing a real good job here. And they're definitely, if Bruce Cassidy's concerned, then we're concerned. And you touched on practice time. And I am a firm believer that Cassidy solves so many issues the way that he practices. He'll say, we practiced in this area, we did this, and then it works in the game the next day. And so sometimes we're a little bit facetious about, we need practice. No, they definitely need practice. They're not going to be able to fit one in probably on Friday before they depart to Calgary. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to fly. The likely scenario, and I haven't looked at the Vegas PR, but the likely scenario is a practice on Friday, and then they would fly out later. But I don't know offhand. They should, at least I would certainly assume, after what happened last night. I don't think a pregame skate tomorrow is enough. I think they should be on the ice working on some things, because really there's only one other game, one other day between now and there's one time when they have 2 calendar days off, and that's between April the 12th and April the 15th, between Nashville and Cal, and that road trip again. So they definitely should be on the ice today. And once the playoffs start, there's very few practices at that point. It's pretty much optional skates all the way until the Stanley Cup final with a couple odd practices built in, maybe between a series and stuff like that. So yeah, practice is important. Kadri and Huberdeau, right? I mean, those were the Matty Tkachuk and Johnny Gaudreau replacements when everything kind of fell apart at the seams. And the Flames, you had no idea what direction that team was going to go. Their identity was just, hey, they're stuck in transition and everything. And you start with what Dustin Wolf is doing. Vezina candidate, probably not going to get past Lane Hudson or Celebrini, but Dustin Wolf in net, AHL player from a year ago, playing absolutely phenomenal. You mentioned Kadri, Huberdeau, Blake Coleman, I mean, just a bunch of guys who are decent players. Connor Zary is a youngster. Sharon Govich has been a 30-goal scorer historically, only 13 this year. Coronado, another youngster. He's got 20 goals. He's doing really well. Mackenzie Weegar on the defense got 36 assists. So a lot of things to look at. Kuzmenko is just he got traded back to Vancouver, I think, or Edmonton, pardon me. Pelletier, young player. Miramonov's played 43 games. Braden Pahal's played 69 games. And, Braden Pahal on a team that is like minus 31 for Rasmus Anderson, a defenseman. Nazem Kadri is minus 18. Braden Pahal's played 69 games. He's a +1. He's a +1. He's maybe their poor man's Braden McNabb over there, just kind of getting things done and logging minutes, logging ice time, and making plays. So credit to the Flames for what they're doing. That team seemed like they were falling apart at the seams, and they're a real, they're a live dog right now to get into the playoffs. They have a head-to-head against Vancouver later in the season as well, so buckle up for that one. Or Minnesota.
Yeah, I was going to say. And yeah, I think Calgary making this push, and it's good for fans.
Not good for the Golden Knights on Saturday. It's not good.
No, that's why I'm saying, like, why wouldn't you play your stronger goaltender first?
He's tired. He needs a rest. He needs to set.
Well,
this is not characteristic for Aiden Hill to do this in the regular season. He needs to set.
But Vancouver's a team that they're starting to fall apart down the stretch.
Exactly.
They've lost
get 2 points against Vancouver. If you get a point against Calgary, great.
Okay. All right. That's fair. It's good way to pose it there. But Sunday, the Canucks, and that's a 7:00 game. Saturday game, a matinee for VGK in Calgary. So then they'll have some time to travel. But the Canucks also on the tail end of a back-to-back, go figure. They play the Ducks, but they'll be at home on Saturday. So no cheating there. They'll play the Ducks at 1:00 Saturday. And then that 7:00 game against VGK on Sunday night. Shut out last night by Joey Decord. And again, this is a team that is starting to fade some down the stretch. And there have been some rumors about Rick Tocchet for that Philly job, and that can't be helping out this team down the stretch.
No, it's unfortunate stuff like that is breaking out through the media right now, because Vancouver's had a terrible season, right? I mean, you look at the JT Miller, Elias Pettersson drama and everything else happening. And, this is certainly a reflection on Tocchet in the locker room and how he handled things. And now thrown to Philadelphia, that's been its own dumpster fire, but that's because their previous coach probably more or less than anything. Tocchet did great things last year, and this year it's not. And how much that is on Tocchet versus, JT Miller and Elias Pettersson not being able to be professional with one another, I don't know. But what I can tell you is the coach was unable to mend that relationship. He was unable to, keep that bridge between those two players. So some of this is on Tocchet, and the fact that this is spilling over to, the players feel like they have no direction, right? They feel like their coach, their leaders might abandon them. And maybe that happens, maybe it doesn't. But the fact that it's out there, something is being discussed, something is happening. And it's probably, a quiet discussion behind closed doors that shouldn't be happening. It's probably tampering to a degree. But, the reality is when there's enough smoke around something, there's usually some type of fire right now. So, and shout out to the Moore on that lit the wetlands on fire. Don't do stupid things like that. Please don't do stupid things like that. Going back to the hockey side here, I mean, we talked about Vancouver. I saw it in the news this morning. It's stupid that happens, but whatever.
You're calling VGK's demise here a dumpster fire?
No. The dumpster fire is definitely Vancouver right now. Rick Tocchet has responsibility to that.
Okay.
So going back to, I mean, three game losing streak right now when they're in the playoff hunts. 3-game losing streak. You saw the 5-0 shellacking, and I watched the end of that game on the NHL Network. Quinn Hughes looked like he was about to cry on the bench. They were isolating on him. The team was skating off the ice. Quinn Hughes was staring out there, standing up, leaning over the bench with an absolute blank look on his face. He was listless. He was numb. A lot of passion, I'm sure. And, they got dusted on home ice by the Kraken, who have been out of the playoffs now for 3 weeks? 2 weeks ago, they were probably eliminated. This weekend is the last gasp for Vancouver. If they find a path to 4 points against Anaheim and the Golden Knights, they're still in it. At least it's a tough reach, but they're still in it. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Coming up next, it is that time of the week. WTF. Stay with us right here on Locked On Golden Knights. March Madness and the Final Four are here, and FanDuel is giving you the chance to get into the action like never before. Here are the latest FanDuel numbers on the Final Four heading into the championship game on Monday. We've got Florida 2.5-point favorite over Auburn. The total on that game, 160. And then Duke is a 5-point favorite now, as a lot of steam's been coming on the Blue Devils, and they are a 5-point favorite over Houston. The over-under is 137. And right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's $200 that you could take from the games here in the Final Four and put it to good use in the championship game. Okay. Yes, I did try the underdog route. That didn't work very well. And I was looking at my brackets, and my brackets, I'm at 92%, but I'm in 2,200,000th place in the current standing. So everyone has picked all of the favorites here. And the tournament games were happening. They were coming at us fast and furious. And you could still bet on the crowned basketball games Saturday and Sunday. And, of course, the NCAA Final Four. There is always something exciting to bet on at FanDuel. The FanDuel app is so simple to use. When you win, you get paid instantly. No waiting around. So visit FanDuel.com and get into more college hoops action coming up this weekend. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Back on this lengthy edition of Locked On Golden Knights, Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick reporting from Las Vegas. I don't know where Chris went, but we're good. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. Please make sure to subscribe to our Locked On Golden Knights YouTube channel. So I'm going to start off by saying, yes, I'm very happy still doing this show, because a number of people questioned whether or not my heart was into doing this program every day. I do enjoy chatting with my guy here, Golick. So back to WTF. That wasn't even a WTF. We need more sheets of ice, right? That's known here in Southern Nevada. And as we know, Bill Foley says that he's not going to build any more rinks.
I know where you're going. This is
without the help of city, county, or private donations. Really. Meanwhile, Utah Jazz owner Ryan Smith is donating $10 million, a drop in the bucket, $10 million to fund the building of 20 new rinks throughout the state of Utah. 20 new rinks. Don't you think you might want to put some fresh ice up there in Tahoe too, now that you have the okay. Anyway, this guy is donating, Ryan Smith, up to $500K again to help out in the building of new sheets of ice. And VGK has, from what I understand, they already have done the minimum of what is required when you enter the league. So they've reached that quota. And now Bill Foley, his approach is not going to build any more sheets of ice unless someone helps us out here. City, county, state. And so we're at a standstill right now. No new sheets of ice here in Southern Nevada or even in the north. I don't know if there's any plans. Bill Foley.
I thought they're adding on to Hilo Park eventually, but I thought they're going to make that 2 sheets eventually.
Yeah, 2030 when Carlson's contract is up.
Well, then they're going to re-sign him for too much, not having any money to build any more ice.
Could happen. Bill Foley needs to find the money, or put that money out there, or donate more money and fund more sheets of ice. WTF.
I'll double down with a business idea. If anyone's got probably about 10, 20 mil laying around, it's probably what it would cost. The fries, the closed down fries electronics store in Town Square.
Center of town, right?
Put
Yeah.
4 sheets of ice in there.
Oh man, that's great.
And even a soccer facility, it would all fit. I mean, that place is massive.
Would you put one near the TV section? Like, how would you lay this out?
I don't know. I don't care. But 4 sheets of ice, even 3 sheets of ice, it would be massive. It's close to all the hotels. It's Central Valley for the locals. It would be a massive success. And bonus points if it has nothing to do with the Vegas Golden Knights, who have a monopoly on youth hockey in this town, which is sad because they do a piss poor job of running it. So hopefully it would get better if someone came and competed and put in the biggest rink in the Valley. It would be just absolutely massive. And it would make the VGK youth product better as well. Travel side, they do great for their kids developing them because you pay $5,000, $10,000 a session. On the house side, it could be a lot better for the development. But moving on from that, I'll rattle off quick because we're going to go insanely long today, it looks like. I had a nice interaction with DK Masco. I hope I said your name right. So I said chalk up the recent home losses to the team being bored, or is there more to it? Blah, blah, blah. Who cares?
You say they're bored, yeah. You've said that a
So
lot.
DK jumps in. When I get bored at work, sometimes I daydream with the playoffs. Wait, I'm not allowed to be bored at work. So my response,
That's good.
everybody gets bored at work. I'm bored right now. So then DK comes back and says, okay, how about this? What would it be like to have a scheduled loss at work? LOL, go Knights, go. That's absolutely dynamite. So DK, excellent hit.
That's
right there.
super.
That was a good one.
That's so. You're so negative.
Gary Lawless, speaking of positive, is the homer of homers. And I turned the game on for a few minutes on the radio yesterday when I was driving to get a late night.
Wait. Hang on. You sure yesterday? Because all I heard was static. It was off the air last night.
Oh no! Well, I on the satellite side.
Okay.
So I don't know. The satellite picked it up, and I'm on for 2 minutes. Oh, Braden McNabb slashed. Refs didn't call. Oh, okay, Lawless. I get it. You're a homer. You got a ring. Your check.
And now he's trying to compensate.
Fine, but
now he's trying to compensate though too. He's trying to kiss up extra because of the. Is that a question there, Gary? Incident?
It must be a contract year for Lawless, so look at it like that. And maybe the Golden Knights will reconsider that. Dorofeev gets a pregame interview, WTF,
what?
right there.
Wait, what?
Someone hit us on YouTube and said Dorofeev had a pregame interview yesterday.
That's terrific. Finally. Okay.
So there you go.
We've been begging for that.
FaceTime.
Okay.
And then I'll double back with Tony. Like people are a couple of comments I've made. I've also had people coming on me saying, lumping me with VGK hate and saying everyone dumps on him. Like I was pissy with the Logan Thompson and Marchessault thing, and the team had a rough stretch, and I certainly laid on to them. But I also was very honest with when the Golden Knights defeated the Jets in late November. That was the turning point for me, and I do feel positive about this team. I think they do have the ability to make a Stanley Cup run. Do I think it's going to happen? I don't know. It's up in the air, but this is a good hockey team. I will certainly say that. They are still likely a division winner, and many good things have happened this year, despite the losses of many, many, many key players, of course, starting with Marchessault and LT, and then you double that back with Chandler Stevenson, so on and so forth. And credit McCrimmon for putting together that product on the ice. Credit Cassidy, who we talked about as an outside Jack Adams nominee for the job that he's done.
What's negative about that?
I'm trying to figure out. Even when I'm jumping on saying that there's too much
because
negativity.
The team's losing, it's our fault. Is what they're saying.
I mean, my point is, if you're going to make a comment like that, you're not watching the show lately. And if people want to jump on Tony for saying some things, fine. Tony can defend himself.
I do, and I do, and I never walk it back. I never if I say something that I think was perceived as negative. Okay, I own it. I said that. I'm accountable. I didn't want to be the homer doing this show. And yes, I still.
You're not going to get a homer perspective. You're going to get hopefully
honesty. You're going to get honesty. Yeah, this team is complacent right now. They're complacent,
100%.
And that's it.
Cassidy will tell you that. We don't need to tell people that. Cassidy told us that not so many words last night.
Right. Cassidy says it himself. And then, I don't know. It's kind of funny, though. Just like, you're a great guy, but why are you being so negative about this team?
Wait, someone said you're a great guy? I think you put that in there yourself.
I did get, I got some flowers.
No one said you're a great guy.
No one said that I'm an F. Oh, the fog. think the fog's coming back, bro.
The fog is. I was wondering about that, Tony. I saw the
this
fog
is
there.
terrific. I can't wait for fog season.
The
SEN.
fog is coming. The fog is coming.
The fog is coming. We appreciate everyone making us your first listen each and every day. Good timing there, colleague. Thank you so much, especially our everydayers. We'll be back again, of course, with a Monday edition, perhaps late Sunday night. Little teaser right there. Perhaps Sunday night.
The only option, or it's not happening.
Oh, yeah. Oh, not perhaps. We will do this Sunday night. So we'll be extra early there with our recap. A little quick reaction. For my man, Chris Golick, I'm Tony Cardasco from Las Vegas. Have a great weekend, everyone. We'll see you again on Sunday night, Monday morning, right here on Locked On Golden Knights. And please take care.